just reminded me of something. I'll pull it up real quick. This is I reference it all the time, and I knew we were going to talk about it. I want to bring up this this one article I think is just so crazy, and but it's about having oh geez, where is it? It's about off-world things or non-Earth stuff, you know. And I'm like, what does that mean? They just say it so casually, and I never really hear a follow-up by what do you mean by something. I just want to make sure I get the phrase right because I think it's so wild, and it's only from like 5 years ago. Here we go, people. This is from a New York Times article in 2021. Mr. Davis is someone from the Aerospace Corporation, a defense contractor, said he gave a classified briefing to a Defense Department agency as recently as March back in 2021 about retrievals from off-world vehicles not made of this Earth. So just BS, right? Or are they telling us this and it's real and no one cares?
No, I think he's full of shit. Who said that?
Some defense contractor.
Yeah, some
Who believes
guy
defense contractors
that they stuck on.
I don't.
Like how? Yeah, exactly. How convenient. And he had no evidence. He didn't
Lockheed
show.
Martin.
Did he show the device or anything?
You know what? And maybe looking at your response, I'm trying to find a more positive attitude now of why people don't care. As I keep saying, like I love referencing that because it's a pretty wild thing to say. Even though New York Times we know is a lying crap organization, right? For forever, on definitely since World War II. Maybe people just intuitively know this is BS.
Probably.
And there's like, oh, we're not buying it. Show me pictures. Because like one of these guys at the hearing the other day, Elizondo, he's like one of these big whistleblower types from the government, who's part of this, retrieval program or study program for UFOs. I refuse to say UAPs, by the way. It's UFOs.
Yeah, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Give me a break. I don't buy the rebrand. But he was at a UFO party, private UFO party. That's how it was. That's what the article said. I don't know what that
kind of party I want to get
I don't
invited
know what
to.
that means. Yeah, like where's our
Invite
invite? But he shared this image of a mothership. He said it was an alien mothership floating over some city. And like a day later, he was like, "Yeah, it was a total fake. I'm sorry." So I'm like,
Lou Elizondo did?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm like, why do I believe anything you guys are saying?
None of it.
Is it a distraction?
Yes.
From what? What do you think?
From the 3.1 trillion that they were unable to come up with in the audit, the Pentagon, things like that.
Yeah.
They want to control people's minds with like weird things they can't prove and without evidence.
Right.
It's a very, very effective way to manipulate the masses of people.
I agree.
But one, it doesn't make sense. Two, there's no evidence. Right. Three, they've shown distrust through the New York Times and the government's willingness to lie. So those three things together, but particularly no evidence. You get 8 scientists from around the world, wherever, 8 different scientists, all like holding the metal in the lab with the radioscopic microscopes, showing the chemical outlays of these materials, being like, we don't know how. Look at the molecular formation of this. It was obviously forged in a star somewhere. Like you get those guys all coming together and like showing, then I'll start to really take interest in that stuff. Yeah. Until then, I don't trust any government statements.
Same. And there's also been like this coordinated effort throughout the past 5 to 10 years of all these different government officials saying that they believe in aliens all of a sudden, which always makes me really skeptical. And I also want to say for anyone listening, like I always get a lot of flack for questioning this because people really want it to be true. And I think there is something out there happening. We just don't understand. But I don't think we're getting the official story through the government.
They're working on talking plasma, which is a technique. You can read about this on militarytimes.com. Talking plasma is where you take lasers from a base station and hit them at a point in the sky or somewhere, and it causes a ball of plasma to erupt. And then you can move that around with laser pointers and move it around real fast, and you'll see this plasma ball moving. And on radar, it looks like a craft. They'll be like, how does a craft move at that speed from underwater into the atmosphere? Because it's fucking laser pointers, and they can teleport sound through the stuff and images. So like expect false flags in the state of like a mothership in the sky where they're like, we have come, and people will be like, ah.
Now you're talking my language. This is Project Bluebeam material.
Oh, literally?
Like, this is what a Bluebeam situation would look like. It could be aliens or even a projection of some type of deity, right? It could be Christ, projected into the sky. And the theory would be that it's to consolidate power and to get everyone behind this giant awe, love, or fear of whatever they're projecting in the sky.
Expect it subtly too. So like it just to be at like 4 p.m. on a Saturday over Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa's in Oklahoma. And like for like a few seconds, and then people will start whispering about it, and then
Right.
like another month later you see it again somewhere in China, and it's
Right.
like more people are talking about it. Like it probably won't be so overt as to be
Mm-hmm.
like, I am God come to save you. Like they'll subseed it into the consciousness, but people have developed immunity to this crap.
That's the thing. And I've been starting to think about Bluebeam differently in the past few days, as opposed to kind of like what you're saying, where it's not going to be this giant image that original Bluebeam, the theory proposed, that all of a sudden, whoa, my goodness, there's something crazy in the sky. We all got to like fight it or love it, you know? I think this disclosure is like, it's a slow burn. Bluebeam could be a slow burn to try to, you know, that's their method of trying to get everyone on board by slowly just mainstreaming the idea of extraterrestrials and then convincing you with something, an event.
Oh
or
yeah,
multiple
That's what
events.
I think that's what's happening.
It leads
They're
up to
trying
it.
to trickle it out so that they
Right.
can. It's called the jab, right hook. It's a
Right.
business tactic too. With I think Gary Vaynerchuk talks a lot about it. You want to give a little, and then you hit them with the big ask, like
Right.
subscribe for $10 a month or whatever. Like here's a video. Follow me on YouTube.
Right.
Here's the thing. Same with disclosures.
Yeah.
And I think I do love how humans have become so resilient to being tricked.
Mm-hmm.
I still get concerned with religion, just in general, like ancient texts, and people are like, "Look, I don't believe CNN, but this 2,000-year-old book, I'll believe it without question."
But that book has gone through so many people and generations.
So has
Whereas
CNN.
CNN's only gone through 10 years, 15 years.
How many people are involved with overseeing that? So many.
I
Sorry to
think
interrupt,
there's
but
no. It's fine. I love this conversation. I think there's been so many generations of people pouring over the text, but it's obviously that's not even easy for people to agree on because we've had schisms in the church. We've had multiple religions spill out of this religion and that religion. We've had offshoots and all these different things. But I see more, obviously, from my point of view, realness from an ancient text like the Bible than I do from any like crap we're getting through the TV.
how? What is it about a 2,000-year-old book that makes it seem like
Because
it's real?
What I see in it
Or
is
that it's talking about real stuff.
is a divine truth that stretches through every generation, and it speaks to like a blueprint of human suffering that is as relatable today as it was thousands of years ago.
There's a lot of that stuff in it.
Right.
Like
and that's not in CNN.
there's a lot of like good messages in it of,
yeah.
of like wisdom of ways to behave, like the Four Agreements.
Right.
But the stories about like supernatural stuff of like miracles that people don't do today because it's like, well, it's not technologically capable to do that. We would need some other tech.
Right.
But the books is like, but they did it 2,000 years ago.
Right.
Don't even think to question it.
I would argue they're still happening. I think miracles are happening every day. I think it's a miracle that we're here.
What miracle have you seen?
My children born.
Well, that's not a miracle. That's biology.
No, I think it is biology, but I think it is so immense. It shatters reality in a great way. It just opens up such a love that you feel connected to something so much bigger. And it's cliche, but it was one of my portals into believing in God again, is the miracle of life and like how epic and insane the biology of a woman is and like the baby. It's unbelievable. But that's just one thing. I think all these miracles are still happening. I think you see them every day in your life. And a lot of people have stopped seeing them. They've turned themselves off to it. Almost like how we're talking about these other dimensions you can enter through like a DMT. I think, you projected your psyche into that situation. I think a lot of people have turned off their perception to miracles because we've been so watered down. The people's perception has been watered down because of TV, social media.
We should define miracle for sure if we're going to talk about them, because childbirth is not a miracle in my opinion. It's just nature's
just part of life.
Yeah, it's functional biology,
Right.
but like things that cannot chemically happen in scientific reality, like that someone wrote a story and there's like but it happened before, without evidence, and for anyone to think that that's true is like, what the, like, come on. We need discernment across the board if we're going to survive as a species.
Right.
And it doesn't always mean that you're going to like the things that are real, but
I think I see it every day in everything in life. I see even people say Trump not getting assassinated was a miracle, but I've had questions about that whole event myself. But as in, it maybe wasn't everything we know it was in terms of all the things surrounding it, right? But like people say that was a miracle. I think there's so many miracles, and they don't have to be defined as one type of thing. You know, I think miracles are relative to your experience as well, and they could be a small thing as something you think of as a coincidence, which I don't believe in coincidences anymore, or they could be as big as like a vision that you had, or some type of prophecy, or hearing from God. You know,
That stuff I think is real. All that stuff in the Bible where like people heard words of wisdom from God, I think those are
people
real.
having visions. You know,
Yeah, but only because I've experienced it myself. So before I would have told you it was bullshit like 20 years ago, but now that I've...
doesn't that open you up then to the idea of miracles?
I wouldn't call it a miracle,
How do you
though.
see miracles? What do you like? What's your
A
definition?
miracle is... What is the definition? Is it something that is outside the realm of science? And that doesn't mean it's impossible, because
Right.
sometimes we don't always... Not everything we can't see isn't unreal. Like things can happen that we can't explain necessarily. So maybe what is it?
Should
Something...
I use ChatGPT?
Yeah,
No.
Let's see what the AI...
All right, let's see what AI
believes.
says.
A miracle is an extraordinary and remarkable event that is often seen as beyond the explanation of natural or scientific laws. It is usually attributed to a supernatural or divine cause. In religious or spiritual contexts, miracles are often considered acts of God or a higher power, signifying divine intervention in the natural world. Miracles can also refer to highly unlikely but beneficial events, sometimes used in a metaphorical sense to describe a situation where something unexpectedly positive happens against all odds.
So that would have been like Trump nearly missing the bullet is the second version, an unexpected, really good outcome.
But the way they describe it, a miracle, it's
That's a
like
pretty-
it's
I think
on
that's
a
great.
it's on a spectrum.
It's a huge definition.
because
It's multiple definitions.
Because I still see the miracle of life in the when it got to the religious part, but then there's things in the first part that AI was giving was like, you know, things beyond expectations, and then to connect my idea of the miracle of life to the first part of that definition, I'm thinking of like, I know a family who they were told you could never have kids. You will never have kids. Sorry, you know, you're barren, and they adopted, and right when they adopted and signed the deal, she got pregnant against all odds. It was just. And so they have an adopted child and they have a biological child.
Yeah, I had a friend who went through a similar thing.
Yeah, but
I did
that's not
Reiki on her.
necessarily a miracle either.
I think
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Because that could just be a bad doctor.
And the body's built to regenerate too, so
Right.
like it can kick back on when it's
Right.
been turned off. But like the part of that I really want to focus on and hone in on the definition is like outside the scope of understanded science, whatever that was. Like we can't explain why the lightning struck, but it did. Therefore, miracle. Like back in the day, they didn't know about runaway breakdown or like electrons and things, so they would just say. But when it's just have discernment about when things happen, but then also about people telling you something happened without any evidence. So like, if a guy wrote a book about 500 years ago that a man flew down on a carpet from the sky and shot lightning at people and grew them big and then ate his children and then vomited them back out, like, I call bullshit. That is not human. That is not something that happens in this reality. That is a lie. That's a made-up story.
Just this year, I'm pretty certain Odysseus is a real story.
Of what is a real story?
The Odyssey. It sounds like what
Definitely.
you're describing. Homer's The Odyssey. It sounds like you're describing like Zeus and stuff.
Yeah, Kronos
like-
ate his children and then
Right.
vomited them back up.
That's-
Okay, obviously not. It was a
I
story.
mean, I don't know, dude. I'm bored with it.
Well,
just-
maybe
I'm on
the
board with
Bible
it.
just exaggerates, and it's just for storytelling
I disagree.
purposes.
I think it's literal.
Wait, hold on.
think
You're the
it's literal.
skeptic. How could you?
Because
I know,
I know.
Do you see
And
what
this
I'm
is-
dealing with?
I know. I know this is very complicated, but this is where I'm at now. That book has become my only anchor in reality. And we could all go back to saying, well, this is because he's a paranoid person, is anxious, and he needs this. And maybe that might be. But I feel very confident in my heart that what I'm reading is literal.
Why? But I don't. This is. Where,
I know.
It's
I
like
can't-
cognitive
dude,
dissonance because
I can't even explain. I don't know how to explain it. It's a feeling that I'm just like, I think this is journalism.